Alright, welcome back to episode 43 of What Has Civilization Started Over. In the last episode then, we had 4 wars, technically, I suppose. The first war was the war in Italy, as the Spanish formed an alliance, which is the parallelogram alliance, between them and the blue Italian country. So that was a pretty small war, but now the beige Italian country is gone, and we have this weird sort of border over here in Italy. There was also a war between Sweden and Norway, which the Swedish won very much, and now they've annexed the new Norwegian country. And then the other 2 wars took place over in Japan, as we saw the blue country lose their land up here, and the red country lose some territory to not only the blue country, but also this pink one, as the dark bluish country funded both these countries, and the beige country just was in the war, but they didn't really do a whole lot. Because, look at them. There's nothing there. What do you expect? Okay. What do you expect them to do? Anyway, so those were the wars in that episode. We also saw the creation of an alliance between, it's the trapezium alliance between, new trapezium alliance between, I hadn't named this place, it's like Jharkhand or something like that, and Bengal. They formed an alliance against the Pentagon alliance made by the Southern Indians and this greenish place. So that's cool. Of course we have still got all the alliances in Europe, including the Square Alliance up here, the Diamond, the Triangle, and the Parallelogram alliances. And the Circle one. Hooray, that's still here. That's fun. Anyway, let's first off go to Northern Europe, because we've got a few things we need to do in this area. And first off, I'm going to go to Denmark, because Denmark's cool. They're democracy, there we go. They're a flawed democracy, you know. Back in year 8, I think it was, we had this topic on democracy in Britain, because Britain's, you know, they've had some sort of democratic functions for a while. You know, on the island Denmark. Anyway, it was like how flawed democracies works, and like how the old British democracy used to be very flawed. In that, you know, like people could see, they say you're like a town mayor or something, they could see who you were voting for. There wasn't like a ballot or anything like that. They could just walk around and be like, ah, see you vote for Tom. Don't do that. Vote for me, not him. So that's quite corrupt, and that's basically what we've got in Denmark. It's a democracy though, so that's cool. Anyway, I was going to talk about the different Danish parties, and I'm going to forget about their names. But the sort of right-wing party in Denmark is, it's called like naval dominance or something, because of the old Danish naval dominance over the North Sea. So they want to rebuild that, you know, conquer those areas and stuff. They were very much pushing for Denmark to get involved in the Swedish-Norwegian war that recently occurred to rebuild their colonial empire. But yeah, they're not hugely popular. The left-wing party is called Peninsula, because it's just focused on the peninsula, like develop that area. It is a very developed area of the world, there's a lot of cities there. Apparently there's loads in the mountains of Scandinavia as well. But yeah, there's lots of cities in Denmark. It's a very developed area. It's pretty good, but they want to make it better, so it can become like an economic and trade hub, which it kind of is. And then the centrist sort of party is actually called Center Seas, because they're between the North and the Baltic Seas, and you know, it's like, oh, trade goes through these areas and we should become really rich off that, and then also potentially attack countries from that. You know, we can go to lots of different areas, and we need to play our cards right and become a major power in this area. Like, we control everyone who goes through this strait right here. So yeah, that's pretty cool. There's a few other parties, like the Polish party, which wants to rejoin the Holy Polish Empire and, you know, just get friendly with these guys. There's a Druidic party which wants to become a theocracy, but they've never won an election because they're incredibly unpopular. And there's even a monarchist party who want to reintroduce monarchy to Denmark, but then the monarchy would only be in power for 4 years. So it's not a great party, and they've never won either. But it's just kind of like a funny thing for this time. There's a few others, but that's about it really. So that's Denmark, but we can also now go over to a war, and then we'll talk about some more talking in a second. But the war I want to do is here in the British Isles. I have talked many times about my hatred for the Irish and the Scottish countries' colour, like how they blend on the border. So I'm just going to be removing one of these countries, as Ireland will declare on Scotland. I wonder which one's going to lose. Maybe the guy with the colonial empire. Well, I don't even need to show you this, but they've got a lot more stuff than Scotland has, because Scotland has nothing. Anyway, the Irish troops will quickly move in across this river, whatever it's called. Fort William's like over here. Anyway, they take these 2 cities very quickly and also push around here into Galloway, They take this one, which is kind of where Edinburgh is, and there's not too much left, so the English country will move in as well. They push in towards these two cities, moving up into kind of Northumbria in the right, and what is that, Cumbria, maybe on the left. They push up across the Scottish borderlands and into just southern Scotland, going up on this river, whilst the Irish just push across to the Scottish capital, which is near like Inverness or Aberdeen, that sort of area, taking over the city, and yeah, we can go to a peace treaty now. This country lost very quickly. All these islands also got taken. The Scottish still own the Shetland Islands because that's where their nation originally was when they broke away from the. Oh yeah, it was the Polish. They broke away from the Polish, and then they united the French breakaway, which was Scotland. Anyway,
the Irish will be taking over.
The Irish will be taking over this.
No. This territory. There we go. This extra province right over here. Extra 2 provinces. So, as well, the division of Scotland looks like Ireland takes the capital city, of course. The English country pushes the border all the way up here. As for the Orkney Islands, they're of course allowed to exist. Nope. To be fair, they'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Do you want to let the Orkney Islands exist? I'm not sure. But here are the borders across the British Isles. I don't know if I love this border a whole lot, but it is what it is. So there we go. Pretty cool though. Moving back eastwards then, we need to go to the Holy Polish Empire, because things are stirring once again within this group of countries, as the 3 of them are all having thoughts about finally reuniting the old Polish country. Now, of course, this group of countries right here, these 3, they're not nearly as big as the old Polish Empire, which stretched from the Volga River in the east all the way to the Netherlands in the west, like north into Finland and south down to like Slovenia. Yeah, they're not quite that big, but that's like Belarus to Germany. That's pretty far. And this would still be an extremely strong country if it formed, and all 3 of these nations want to form it. So what they do is like, guys, I like you all. You're all great kings. I want to make Poland, and I know you do too. So they're going to schedule a war. I mean, this is kind of what's happened all the previous times, well, not all of them, but this time it's much. The other one's like meh sort of thing, but this they actually schedule a war. They're like, we need to finally find this out. However, they set a few things like whoever wins this war, all of us have to just accept they're the winner. We renounce all claims of being Polish stuff, but we do respect like land ownership, and we can't resend over land because we're all Polish citizens of the same sort of state and the same ideals. And they're like, that's good. Let's keep with that. And yeah, just be happy with whoever wins and make a really, really strong country in the north. But secretly, all 3 of these guys want to win really badly. So I guess we'll see who wins. Anyway, yeah, no other countries. Then everyone else in Europe joins the Holy Polish Empire. Nope, we're not having that happen because it would be really annoying to deal with. Where did I want to go next? I know there was some bit I want to go to next, and then I immediately forgot absolutely everything. Oh yeah, let's do some colonization. I'm so stupid. Anyway, first off we need to go to the Philippines, as the Chinese have decided to actually start colonizing again, taking over these 2 islands down here. Don't know what they're called. Just some random islands. They take over this random island, and they start spread out to, I think this is called the second island chain. There was something I read about like old US plans. This is the main island chain. It's like a World War II sort of thing, and this is the secondary island chain. And Guam's over here as well, somewhere, I think. So that's cool. Anyway, heading back over to the central part of Indonesia, we need to go to the red southern Indian country as they spread out onto this weird looking island, and just these general surrounding ones going north of Timor. Over here to Bengal, they really speed up their colonization a little bit, taking over all of this northern territory on the island of Sulawesi or Celebes or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know, man. But they take over all this, which is quite a lot of land, really. And they also take over this island chain, which I won't colour in because I won't. And start to get closer to the Moluccas, which is this area. Not the Malacca Strait, because that's something different. Heading over to Africa, actually, we need to finally move this green sort of Ivory Coast nation around here to this major river thing that's over here near. Oh, it's in Ghana. Also, let's just try and fix the borders around in this area because it's disgusting and I hate it. Boom, boom. Cool. That's better, I think. Also, the blue countries' borders aren't amazing. I don't think I love these borders, but it's what we've got. Like, it's kind of unrealistic that they would go this far into the sand. Also, I don't know why there's those yellow blobs in Africa. That's strange. Anyway, let's go over to Spain. Spain, what are you doing? Spain has recently decided to colonize the Cape Verde Islands. They take over all those islands. Hooray. Spain's also decided to colonize more of America because they love doing that, as they move down from their Peruvian colony even further into just general like central and possibly now into southern Peru. It looks bad. It looks pretty bad on the map. I don't know. It's hard to fix this country's borders because they are just really not great. I just don't love the city of a country. It's a colony. Also, the province map for this bit, I might just erase a few provinces. Not like erase, but like combine them because there's so many here. I feel like that's very unrealistic, and especially in this area. There could be so many of these that could just be thrown together. So I might do that in the future. Anyway, heading over to the English country then. What they'll be doing, since they got a load of strength from Scotland, they'll be moving over towards this lake, which I'm sure all of you American viewers can tell me what it's called. Polish or German or English, I don't know, British or whatever. But that looks pretty cool in my mind. The Irish country will also push itself west of Louisiana into whatever the state. Oh, is this just Texas? Oh, I'm not great at American states. Actually, I did do really well in American states quiz in school. I got 46 out of 50 right. I was really pleased about that. Anyway, they take over a bit of land, just push themselves north into whatever states these are. It was like a map thing though. Just what are the borders? You know, I don't know where they all are in respective to the rest of the United States. Anyway, I'm going over here to this bluish colony, which is the German colony. Pretty interesting that Germany's got this, and they also want to conquer the entirety of the Holy Polish Empire. Don't know if this would help them that much, but maybe. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But there's their colony, expand that a little bit. And we can head over to the west around here near Korea, because the Koreans are finally going to continue to move down the coast into these sort of Alaskan and Canadian areas, going down pretty far, actually. Well done, Korea. They also take over a lot of these islands where no one will ever live, ever. So that's cool. That's probably unlikely. I'm sure some people live here. Is it like just to pay a lot of money to live here? Or is it just, who would want to live there? Vancouver's a pretty big city, isn't it? Someone in my class said Vancouver was the capital of Canada, which I found really amusing. And the person who's actually got Canadian like family and heritage and stuff. Well, so do I, but said that Toronto is the capital, which I think is a fair mistake, to be honest. But you've been to Canada before. Anyway, that's cool. Let's take over some more of this stuff. Don't know how. It's very cold, so they're just gearing through it. You know, North Korea is pretty cold. The Siberian bit. Yeah, I know from experience. It definitely beats in North Korea. Anyway, heading over to the Spanish again, we need them to go to war because Spain is very afraid. They're kind of afraid of two things really, because in the north the Triangle Alliance exists. Where's the alliance? Triangle Alliance exists between the English and the Dutch. They are both strong and developing nations who are getting a lot more powerful. Whilst in the east we've got the Turkish alliance between Ukraine, Hungary, and Turkey. Pretty cool borders, and they're all pretty strong. So Spain needs to make itself stronger, and they're not too far away from the strength of Turkey. Their colonies really help them out a lot with that. So what Turkey will be doing is, Spain will be doing, is declaring war on Morocco. Morocco's got a very small bit of Spanish land in the south, which is very important actually, so Spain feels justified in this war. They move in, taking one major city, and then a second one very quickly, before they begin a push down and a naval advance as well towards this, I don't know what's down here, Gibraltar. That's Gibraltar City. Eventually they take this entire area as the rest of it capitulates. There's a bit of a naval standoff around here near the Tangiers area, but they take that very quickly because Spain has an incredibly good navy. Spain also sends out vessels from their recently captured islands of Cape Verde. This might have been part of their plan really. There's apparently no cities in the south, so it's very easy for Spain to make a landing down here. They also make a landing on the Canary Islands, taking over these islands too, really quickly. They push down and take this city, but don't really bother with a whole lot else. They take over whatever that is. I don't know, where's that? They begin a second invasion of, I think that's where Rabat is in real life, and then this is Marrakesh? Yeah, I don't know. They take this city pretty quickly as well. It is the capital, so there's a loss of life, but the Spanish are very efficient and very powerful. Their navy is extremely very dominant as well, and pretty soon we see the capitulation of the Moroccan nation. So, following that war, what do you think? What do you think the peace treaty is going to look like? Because I think that Spain will fully annex the entirety of the Moroccan country, transforming itself into this extremely powerful nation right here, just in this area. It's really big. And now Spain is once again the strongest country in the world. Now, if we look at power rankings, I updated them, but I didn't change anything because nothing changed. Also, it's kind of funny how this, well, I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, nothing changed. They're still the same. Still Turkey. Well, now it's Spain, but at the start of the episode it was Turkey, Spain, Korea, Southern India, Bengal, Mesopotamia, Orange, China, Indigo, Finland, and Eastern Germany. So that's cool. Hooray for Spain, I guess. Anyway, that's probably going to help them a little bit, maybe. I don't know what Morocco is going to bring them. Anyway, we can now head over back to the Dutch because I forgot about them. I was realizing when I was talking about the Triangle Alliance, oh yeah, I forgot the Dutch are over here. But they do a lot of colonization, moving themselves into southern Mexico, which they were already in, but, further into southern Mexico, taking over that lake. Good job. This entire territory, which is pretty big, don't know what Mexico is really doing for them. I can imagine a Dutch speaking Mexico. It's strange things like this I just find funny. I mean, of course, these guys don't speak real life Dutch. False Dutch. Anyway, heading on over to Sweden. The inventors of the Rubik's Cube. No, wait, that was Hungary. What did Sweden invent? I don't remember. They are going to be invading another nation. Sweden is very expansionist today. And fortunately for the cool Icelandic country that we've got, they are going to get invaded. Unfortunately as well, very weak because nothing ever happens here. So Sweden captures Jan Mayen very quickly, and they also begin their advance into the Icelandic nation, taking this major city somewhere, and this other one where there's probably something. This age city is a lot harder to get to just because of geographical challenges. However, other Swedish strategical maneuvers on the southern coast of Iceland cause the remainder of it to just capitulate and surrender over to Sweden, with the remaining areas being just this very small bit right here, which they managed to send some ships and people over, capturing the major city, and very soon the entire area capitulates. This war did take a long time because it's a very unfamiliar environment. Oh no, you lost your capital. Oh well. Very unfamiliar environment. The fighting in Greenland is really just like the very small bit around here where everyone lives, but they take over this territory. However, unfortunately for Sweden, no one else in the country wants to go fight in the rest of Greenland and Canada yet. They might do in the future. They might come back here. But at the moment, Sweden's content to just let this be what they get. So in the peace treaty, what we see happen is Sweden conquer the entirety of eastern Greenland, well, not all of it, but the bit they got, Jan Mayen and Iceland, and over to the even more even poorer. There we go. Good job, me. The even poorer than it was before, Arctic nation. They put their new capital over here in Greenland, southern Greenland. So that's cool. They have all this stuff as well, but this is the closest to trade. Ironically enough, this country is probably pretty reliant on Sweden, in a way. I mean, also the other colonial countries like Germany and the English nation, and Ireland, they probably help out quite a lot. But yeah, it's a sad way for these guys to exist, really. Anyway, there's not a whole lot else we need to do in this episode. Like, we're kind of good for the rest of the episode, so I might just leave it here. There's a few more things. Oh yeah, a few more things I can do, but I'm saying those for future episodes. The next episode might be quite an important one for the series, like really important for the series actually. It doesn't mean it's going to be something huge. It potentially could be though. Yeah, we see Finland move out into the eastern areas, taking over this weird-looking peninsula that looks actually very cool, I think. And they will also take over these Svalbard Islands in a future episode. Not now. Got you. Anyway, Spain is now the strongest, and Turkey is a bit sad. So we'll see what happens with that in the next episode, or potentially the one after that, if the next episode's like really crazy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.